So I lent a friend of mine £500. He needed it to see him through till the end of the month and promised to repay me on payday. Not a problem. I trusted the guy and I knew he was good for it. Payday comes and goes. No sign of the money. I sent him a message about it. He said, "Oh yeah, sorry I forgot. I'll do that now." 2 weeks pass and still nothing. I message him again. He said he'd send me the money. Still nothing. He was then avoiding me, so I wasn't able to see him face to face. I messaged him again today and he didn't reply. 7 months have passed since the day he promised to have the money back to me by. I've not been able to get a hold of him, nor have I seen him. This weekend just gone, I was out at a restaurant and I happened to see him as I was being seated at my table. He was on what looked like a date. Now at this point, I could see he was acting kind of bosy because he had ordered about 5 starters. It's worth noting that this is a pretty pricey restaurant, so I decided I'd go and say hello. I pulled up a chair at his table and started chatting to him about how he is and how I am, etc. I then proceeded to pick up a fork and try a bit of the food. He looked a bit shocked, but it was good food, so I tried something from one of the other plates. At this point, his date, I'd learned that this was their second date, said to me, "Excuse me, but this is our food. What do you think you're doing?" I looked at her and said, "Well, since I'm pretty much funding this meal, I figured I may as well sample what my money is getting." Then I said to my friend, "It was nice to see you. I'll leave you to it. We can catch up another day." I then left to go back to my table. The people I were with, a party of 10, had very mixed reactions to my behavior. Some were in favor of what I'd done, others not so much. So I'm asking you lot, am I the idiot? That was hilarious, guys. OP is not an idiot at all. OP said that people he was with at the party had mixed reactions to his behavior. I would like to hear from those who said OP was an idiot, because I just can't see why. If his friend can go to fancy places for dinner, he can surely pay OP back. Hopefully, he paid him back after that. I am 46, from Switzerland, and come from a pretty dysfunctional family. When I was 9, my parents divorced, and I went to live with my mother and her new boyfriend, whom she married a year later. My stepfather was extremely to me and my sister, both emotionally and physically, and my mother and the rest of the family always looked the other way. My mother and him had a son, and he was never I left the house when I was 18 and moved out of the country, but kept in touch with my family sporadically. Over the years, my stepfather changed a lot, attending AA meetings. He has not had a drink in 15 years and has expressed his regrets for treating us the way he did. I thought I got over my childhood issues and could move on with my life until a recent incident. Last September, my sister, half-brother, and I were summoned to a family meeting. There, my stepfather announced that he had contacted a lawyer to ensure that when he dies, his money would not end up in my sister's and my pockets. Basically, according to the law, if he dies before my mother, she gets half of his estate, and my half-brother gets the other half. And then, when my mother dies, what she owns gets divided into 3 equal parts, going to her 3 children. But my stepfather sees that as unfair, and he does not want the part that she'd get when he dies to go to anybody else but to his son. He asked my sister and I to sign a letter the lawyer wrote which said we would give our part of the will to our half-brother. Of course, we refused. My brother looked embarrassed but did not express any objection. My mother, as always, was silent. Seeing how we would not sign it, my stepfather asked us to think about it. Fast forward, and here comes Christmas, and we are all again reunited. The subject comes up, and my stepfather becomes very irritated when we tell him we would not budge. That same night, all the I suffered as a child started to resurface, and the next morning, I decided I was going to pack my bags and leave. My stepfather was not there, so my mother took the brunt of my anger. I told her that I would never forgive her for not protecting us. That she was as guilty as he was, and that I was going to do something that I should have done when I was 18, break up with them and never see them again. My sister respects my decision, but my brother said I was being too harsh and asked me to reconsider. Apparently, my mother and stepfather are devastated by my decision and have tried to reach out to me, but I am very reluctant to accept them back into my life. I don't think I could ever forgive them. And it is not even about the money. I would actually prefer they donate everything instead of starting this drama. Edit. For those who said they think I only care about the money, I don't. It is not even my money to start with, and it's not the point. It is about a stepfather who decides to be a father when it is time to control, punish, torture, and who said that he regrets everything he has done, but then bails out when he has a chance to treat us like his own. And yes, I have a biological father who remarried long ago and has children with his new wife. Me, my sister, and his wife will inherit from him, as well as my other brothers from that relationship. And my brothers and my stepmother's son from her first marriage will inherit from their mother, my stepmother, and we won't, which is only fair, as we haven't been raised by her. I have a good relationship with my father, but he lived in Spain with his Spanish wife for over 30 years, so we don't see each other as often as we'd like. I told him about everything, and he is stunned. Himself, as a stepdad, he cannot even imagine treating his stepchildren differently than his own blood. Some asked, what if my mother dies first? She has almost nothing to her name, but what little she has will go half to my stepfather and the rest to my brother, sister, and I. And then when he dies, we get nothing, which is fair enough, as it's the law. Not an idiot at all. OP's stepfather is a bad man, and her mother, well, she is equally bad for not protecting her own children. The stepbrother is not a total douchebag in comparison, but it is still low of him to try to guilt trip her with his parents. I feel sorry for OP. My son graduated high school in 2012. He spent that first year working full-time in a warehouse with a particularly demanding boss. He learned a lot about the workforce and developed an amazing work ethic. But he quickly realized that he wanted to obtain his college degree, so he started community college part-time. About a year later, he got an apartment with his then-girlfriend. He still was going to college and working. After a year, he wanted to come home so that he could go to school full-time, work part-time, and finish school quicker. This is where things go downhill. We were happy to have him come home and concentrate on school. We told him that we'd pay his car insurance and phone, but he would be responsible for his car payment. We also stressed that he would have to help out around the house in lieu of rent and utilities. He would be responsible for cleaning his bathroom every other week, helping with dishes, trash, and vacuum once a week. Suffice to say, he barely did anything. It caused a lot of tension in my marriage. We had many sit-down convos with him. It would get better for a week, then right back how it was. Fast forward to last summer. He's been dating a really great girl who we like, and they made plans to go to a university out of state starting January 2019. Her home situation was very stressful. She already put in 2 years at community college and 1 semester at a very hard local university, and she has a great work ethic also. So we decided to offer for her to stay with us until they go. Within 2 weeks of her moving in, the plan changed from leaving in January to leaving in August. Not what we signed up for. We have a sit-down convo and they want to save up more money before they go. She's going to work 2 jobs. They need more time to find the apartment, etc. So we all compromise and decide June 1st will be the move-out date. Fast forward to December and I'm about to lose my mind. Our son barely does anything at all. He might clean the bathroom every 6 weeks. He might put dishes away every 2 weeks, virtually nothing. She has cleaned the bathroom twice since September. That's it. I was over it. The day after Christmas, I sat him down and told him he had to pay me $100 a month cleaning fee, and they had to be out by April 1st. I told him I was starting to resent him for not helping, that I've taught him everything I can as a parent, that I'll always love him, but it's better for our relationship if he goes sooner rather than later. He was livid. He's barely spoken to me since. I feel like I made the right decision as a parent because it really felt like enabling at this point. But I also feel horrible because maybe I'm being too hard and expecting too much. I just know that I love him and my heart is breaking. Edit. Our son has been out of school since last May. It was at that time that he bumped up his hours at work to full-time. Also, when I gave him the April 1st move-out date, I specifically told him that if anything came up financially, that we would help him, as long as it wasn't a repeating occurrence. Edit 2. For those wondering about his mental health, I can't say for sure, obviously, but I don't believe his dirtiness is because of depression or anxiety. He's always been messy. Before his girlfriend moved in, I could tell him to clean it up when it got to a certain point. His door has always had to stay shut so guests couldn't see. But now that she's living in there too, I'm over it. And of course he was raised with chores and held accountable. But he's also one of those people who doesn't care about the consequences. But I'm strong-willed too. There are times that all he had in his room was a bed and his clothes, not even a door. I believe everything besides food, clothing, and shelter are privileges. Privileges that can be lost. But nothing I ever did changed his behavior. He is who he is. He's charming, sarcastic, incredibly smart, compassionate, and he's also a world-class procrastinator, stubborn. He lies to us, and he's lazy in his personal life. I don't think OP is an idiot. Your house, your rules. And 6 years later and he still doesn't have his associate's degree? 8 months ago, my husband passed away. He had an adult son from a previous marriage, and the two of them weren't very close. I don't think they hated each other or anything like that. Honestly, I think the divorce had more to do with it. Because of reasons I won't go into here, his ex-wife basically had sole custody of their son, and the two of them never had a chance to fix their relationship. Anyway, my husband held some animosity about the whole affair because he felt like his son sided against him in the divorce. Right before he passed, he made me promise not to give his relatives any of his possessions. He had a bad relationship with his family, and he owned some family heirlooms. And I asked him, what about son's name? And he paused, and he said, he doesn't get anything either. Honestly, I was shocked, but I was pretty much grieving at this point, so I didn't question it. Well, about a month ago, his son reached out to me over email asking if he could have a couple of his father's items. He said he's been regretting that they never repaired their relationship and that he never got to say a proper goodbye. The items he asked about were small things like a gold lighter he remembers, I still have it, and a blue button-up shirt. I don't know which one specifically, but I still have a lot of his old clothes. I responded and told him that unfortunately, it would go against his father's wishes to give him anything, and he replied very politely, "I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks for responding." And that was it. About a week later, his mother sends me an email calling me names and a B for not giving her son the things he asked for, and that I'm basically preventing him from moving on. I didn't respond, and I blocked her email, and I haven't heard anything since. I've been feeling sick ever since this happened. I'm still trying to move on from his passing, and I'm not trying to stop him from moving on. I'm just trying to honor my deceased husband's wishes. But I feel like I've done the wrong thing, and I don't know how to handle this. Was she right? Am I in the wrong? I don't think OP is an idiot. Her husband put her in a very terrible position. What she did is just to go with her dying husband's wishes. Of course, the kid is asking for simple things, nothing ridiculous. I feel so bad for this kid. This is like one last slap in the face from a father who didn't care about him. Basically, my parents, her parents, and nearly all of my friends are calling me the idiot for breaking up with my pregnant girlfriend. It's my kid. So just looking for perspective here. I'll keep things as objective as possible and happily accept my final judgment. 3 months ago, we found out that my girlfriend, or ex now, is pregnant. It was a big surprise since we take precautions. C, birth control. But she said it might have been a broken C, plus, she was bad about staying on birth control routinely. Regardless, it was confirmed she's pregnant. I'm 21 and she's 20. I took the news badly at first. I became surly, didn't talk, and just kept to myself for 2 whole days right after she told me. I was terrified and did not want to be a father at all. I just needed time to adjust to the news. I think she expected happiness from both of us, as she imagined I'd scoop her up and kiss her and cry tears of happiness after hearing she's pregnant. I know this because she even referred to that scene in The Office where Pam and Jim find out they're having a baby. Our relationship during this time was extremely rocky because she wanted us to be engaged before the baby came, and I dragged my feet. I took her to all of her appointments, paid for as much as I could afford, and was there 24/7 for anything she needed. I guess it was more emotional connection that I just couldn't force through, and she could tell. A few weeks ago, she sits me down and tells me she lost the baby. She says she had stomach cramps and then she miscarried. I was asking her a lot of health questions. I didn't know if a miscarriage this late into a pregnancy was normal. And she kind of waves me off and is like, "Don't worry, I'm okay." After this, our relationship's getting slightly better only because I'm slightly more relaxed now. She could tell and asked me to be honest about how I feel about the miscarriage. I tell her I'm sad it's happened so suddenly and mostly still worried for her, but deep down, I am really relieved because I 100% wasn't ready to be a father. Wrong answer. She starts screaming, crying, throwing things at me. She says she's not miscarried, that it was a test to see my dedication and I failed it completely. In short, we fought for like 3 whole days after this, with little sleep, because she'd randomly throw cups of icy water on me if I dozed off. At the end of that, I said I can't do this anymore and broke up with her. I told her I'll be there for the baby and I'll pay my share of whatever is needed, but I can't be her boyfriend and I can't marry her. Now friends and family are telling me I overreacted, that it's just pregnancy hormones, and how could I blame her? Everyone's saying things like, "You can't leave a 20-year-old girl to be a single mother." But I know that if I married her, it could be the worst mistake of my life. Am I the idiot? I don't think OP is an idiot at all. Tell me, please, if a lot of 21-year-olds are ready to be a father. She shouldn't have done what she did. That was bad. It's OP's choice to stay with her or not, and he shouldn't be paying attention to other people's comments. In the end, it's his life, and he will have to live with her.